to not a podcast episode, just a live today, a little AFDNP check-in with our wonderful friend Lucy. We love Lucy. That might be my cheesy tagline every single time we do this like the show, which I've never seen, but everyone's heard of I Love Lucy, I think. And so how we are doing these check-ins, just so you guys know, it's not like every month or every other month there is some mind-blowing explosion of events going on, except, well, we can keep that for another one, right? I guess sometimes there is. But that's for, you got to get in the community to get this good drama stuff. But no, with that said, we just want to get on here. We always want to hang out with you guys. Please ask any questions when we're on about FDN, about AFDNP, but you could ask anything in general. We're happy to help in any way. And then, of course, we will hang out with our friend Lucy here today and just we will talk about the updates that are going on. So, Lucy, how have you been? What's new and exciting in the last month or so?
I've been good. I'm looking forward to cooler weather here in Texas. It is still not here. We're on third summer. But apart from that, I'm all good. AFDNP is going strong. We recently were talking about introducing a price increase, and we put it out to our members and spoke to them about it, and they very clearly said no. We did listen to their reasoning and some good feedback. And we have decided to stay at the $33 a month price point. As of now, October 23. I said 2024, 23. So we are sticking at that price. But the reason I bring that up is because we always talk about that community aspect in AFDNP, the support that you get. And I think it's important to highlight this because, we wanted to move ahead with a change, but we are always open and listening to the feedback that we get from our members. And a lot of people gave us some really constructive pieces of advice and their feedback. And that was really helpful. And we were able to come to a group decision that it would not be in the best interest of the membership and our members to raise the price. So we're sticking at $33 a month.
I actually really appreciate that you brought that up, and you were kind of a step ahead of me in that sense, because when I heard that, I'm like, yeah, no, that goes to show what happens in that community. These were tough decisions. This wasn't an overnight thing on either end. It wasn't an overnight thing to decide to raise it to begin with, and it's certainly not an overnight thing to decide to retract that. But it's a community, and it all matters. And actually, what was really cool to me, Lucy, is to see when you gave that update that, hey, no, we're keeping this price for right now, and for the foreseeable future, that's for sure. Unless the currency goes to nothing, then you guys might get charged a little more. But right now, within all foreseeable future, it's going to stay at the same thing. And so to see the comments, though, the positive ones that came in after that, I saw I won't say names, but I saw some comments saying, I feel totally heard. Thank you guys so much. It feels amazing to know that you guys are listening to us. So it is like a family in that sense, right? Because like sometimes you yell and scream at each other, but then when you make up, it's awesome. And you know that you have each other's back. So I actually think that was a great learning experience for all of us, community and staff alike. And I'm sure it was nice to see all those positive things come in after the decision was made, right?
It definitely was. Like you said, it wasn't a decision that was made overnight. So we took the time to gather feedback, and we were able, from that feedback, to take a week or so to sit down and really work it out. And we really appreciated everyone taking the time, because there were like surveys to fill in and meetings to attend, and people really showed up, which was really important.
Yep. Hey, Ryu, he commented in the chat. Ryu's like our star guest on the live ones that we do, podcasts or not, and is super sharp, because you remembered my question from last time, because I asked where he was at, and he's from the Pacific Northwest near Seattle. Very cool. So what else? Actually, I would like to touch on this a little more, because I already have the what else. Yes, we are keeping that base price in AFDNP $33. Yes. And there is going to be an add-on in price, optional, if you want something more, come January 1st. And I'm really excited for that. So what is it that's being worked on? Hint, hint, the directory. How will that look? What can people expect if they were to become a part of FDN?
So the add-on extra, we're still working out the price. It's going to be a minimal charge for it'll be an annual charge. And it is, as you say, our practitioner directory, which basically means that everyone who is in good standing with FDN and a part of AFDNP is able to pay the annual fee and be featured in our directory. It's going to be a public facing directory, so it's going to live, the front end of it will live on our main website. We get, I think it's like 10,000 hits a month or something
Awesome.
crazy like that. You might probably those figures better than me, but
Sounds good.
yeah,
Sounds like
it's,
an awesome
it's
number.
a
I'll
huge
take it.
amount. Yeah, and obviously some of them are looking for the course, but I regularly get emails from members of the public looking to be connected with their own personal FDN. And I have to connect them. And it's kind of like I'm an extra unneeded step. So we're going to remove me from it. We're going to make a public facing directory that people will be able to go on and search and be like, I am, in my perimenopausal phase. I need to, I need help with that. You can Google, you can search that term, or gut health, hormones, whatever it is, and you can look for an expert or like FDN in that particular area that you need support. You're also going to be able to search by area, because we do get a lot of people not only that are looking for their personal FDN. I've actually recently had a lot of doctors looking, they want an FDN to support their practice, but they want to be able to search locally. And we're not able to do that. Right now we have a Facebook group where I can just go, hey, is there anyone in North Carolina?
Yeah.
But not everyone sees those posts. There's 1,000 people. We're at the mercy of the the Facebook algorithm. So it's a bit hit and miss with those kind of posts. So I'm looking forward to removing that and having just people be able to go directly and then be able to contact whoever they choose to. 1 person, 10 people, like whoever's on that.
I didn't even think about the directory from a hiring perspective. That actually makes a ton of sense, especially with the doctors, because they might, they're certainly going to want you local, but they might even want some type of in-person aspect where you are working with the clients or patients and stuff like that. What's interesting too, and I think this is just very human, it's something that all of us share, because I don't want to be confusing, like 98% probably at least, I don't know the real number, but it has to be high 90%. So, okay, that is not how you say that, but something like that. You guys know what I mean. They work online. They work remote.
Yes.
With that said, though, there's this odd thing about if I'm in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which I am, and I'm working with an FDN in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I've never really met them. We don't work in person, but I meet online. Isn't there just still something weird and rapport building about knowing that your practitioner's in the same area as you? It's kind of nice. So I can see the directory being used from that perspective.
Yeah.
Now, before anyone freaks out and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I live in Nowheresville, Montana." Okay, we have hundreds and hundreds of FDNs that work with people all over the world. I have taken clients in tons of states throughout the country. You can work in a lot of places. We're not saying that. But it is, from a directory perspective, interesting, because I think there's a rapport that gets built when you know that the person's closer. And you might be able to make more specific recommendations. Like, let's say you're an FDN and you really think someone would benefit from a chiropractor or acupuncturist care or a float studio, and you know that they can go to this certain place locally and you can work out a deal. There's certainly advantages to stuff like that. So sorry if you already said this, I may have missed it. Not only can they filter by area in that directory, is it true that you can filter by niche? Because we don't specialize in anything, but we do have niches in our businesses. So can they do that?
Yeah. So I was specializing in mental health. So you can, if your mental health is bad, you can go onto the directory and you can filter by practitioners that work in mental health, or whatever it is, acne or menopause, or anything you like. And there will most likely be an FDN that will be able to help you in that area.
Excellent. One thing that we were talking about real quick off air is just the webinars that are offered. And you just did something on mold, which we got to touch on, because I know you saw my post the other day. Lucy, crazy things that just happened within the last 48 hours. So for those listening or watching, not only did I discover it in the apartment that I share with my fiance, we ended up getting out. And I shouldn't say I discovered it. The actual story is over the last couple of months, something just started to shift. And we're FDNs, right? We're very aware of our bodies. And so the first thing, everything goes so well for me nowadays. The first thing that I'm assuming about me when something's going wrong is, okay, I'm pushing too hard. I'm working too much, or I'm doing whatever, because that's usually my warning sign. I'm all right, Ev, how's the day going? What are we doing here? But I accounted for that, and it was happening so rapidly, the changes, that is. I'm this doesn't add up. This doesn't make sense. And then the sinus stuff came. So I got this sinus stuff. I was getting vertigo. So I've been on and off practicing jujitsu for like the last year and change. I couldn't do that. I haven't been able to do that because the normal rolling that you do that I was doing no problem before, I was sick as hell from it. Like even the drills,
Oh,
I
no
wanted to go up.
way.
Yeah. What's up?
Oh, I was just saying, no way that like
Oh yeah.
that's
Yeah, so
surprising.
I went in just doing normal drills, like not even like the actual for those that don't know, like rolling at the end is like 70-80% sparring, but it's jujitsu. It's not like you're trying to kill the person. You're just, you're tapping them out, whatever. And so I couldn't even do the drills because my head was spinning when I was doing even basic stuff. Like, what the hell is going on?
And that
And
normally would have been okay for you? Like, you normally would
yes, it was fine. It was.
have
I mean, I don't like somersaults. I always feel kind of weird doing them, but I mean to the point where okay, I can't just get up, shake it off, and then a few minutes goes by and I'm fine. It's like I cannot finish the session because I'm going to throw up over the mats, and so I'm like, all right, this is weird. And then the thing that scared the hell out of me the most was I was starting to wake up over the last like month and a half, ever since we got back from Italy, really. So I know it's not correlated because I was already having sinus stuff before, but we got back and I was waking up and I'm choking in the middle of the night. And of course, you would say sleep apnea. Well, one thing, obviously, I'm not a huge person, and I don't mean that in a rude way to people. It's like that is one of the things that's associated with sleep apnea. So that doesn't make sense. And two, sleep apnea has nothing to do with congestion. When I woke up, the reason I was choking is because if I like breathed in and out of my nostrils, they were so clogged I couldn't get any air in or out. So I'm mouth breathing, right? But I'm like choking from that. So we're like, we got to get the hell out of there. We get the hell out of there. Mom goes full mom mode. She goes over to the apartment. She's taking apart crap and she finds black mold in our HVAC system. It was in our vents. And so every time we have that air conditioner on, it's blowing that throughout the house. I'm like, holy crap. So I'm sorry for my long spiel with that, but I promise you guys, this is just chats between me and Lucy as much as it is updates. The relevance is you just had a webinar on this, right? And I'd love for people to learn about the type of webinars that are included in AFDNP. So tell us a little bit about this mold webinar that I'm going to need to go watch.
First of all, you really have to do because you have to go listen because we had Jason Earl from Got Mold. Have you had him on the podcast yet?
We're about to.
You definitely should.
I just seriously, you need to schedule it though, because I'm joking. Like we don't have him scheduled right now, but we need to.
I'll connect you guys. He is unbelievably knowledgeable, but he will turn everything you think you know about mold upside down.
Okay.
Like it's wild. So definitely watch the webinar, and I'll make sure you get him on the podcast. He's really friendly, great presenter. Like the information is very clear. But yeah, just like things that I thought were kind of agreed upon, like the ARMY is a great mold test. He basically completely disrupted.
Whoa! All right.
And he actually, I was connected to him through Reed. For those of you that don't know, Reed is the founder of FDN. Him and Raywin had him in to check out their home, and Reed was so impressed. He connected us. So yeah, he came on and he did a webinar today. And it was fantastic. And we have a lot of other great things coming up. A lot of the times the webinars that we have are updates from our lab partners, from our supplement partners. So we're always on top of the latest, what is going on in the health space. On top of that, we do the webinars such as mold. We've got one coming up on minerals because minerals is a huge topic. We don't go over that in the course. So it's like, when you come out and you've done the course, there's always more to learn. And we like to kind of fill in the gaps with the webinars and the further education that we offer. So we're doing a 3-part series on minerals because it's big. And then we also have the more kind of business side of our webinars. So we've had someone come in and help with AI, for example, AI for your marketing. Because a lot of the time when people come out of the FDN course, they've not run their own businesses or anything before. And, maybe for whatever reason, they're not ready to go into business school. If it's available to you, absolutely do it. It's so good. But we do kind of, I suppose you would call them like webinars that kind of like the things that are trending almost. Like, with marketing comes and goes. And it
staying up to date too.
Yeah, exactly. So we use some of the space to help you with little things like that. Like, how do you use AI in business? I had no idea until I did the webinar. But it's important because that's the direction that the world is heading. So those are the kind of some of the topics that we'll cover. It's a little bit of business, a little bit of health combined to support you as you grow your business, essentially.
It's awesome. And actually, this is really helpful because it might help me clarify some of the conversations I've been having recently on the phone or at conferences and stuff. We just got back from Kansas City, Missouri. And then I know Elizabeth Gaines, course mentor, she was down, lead course mentor, excuse me. She was down at the Biohacking Congress this weekend in Miami. One of the whole things is, because you mentioned trendy, and that's actually a really key point. People get sold on the trendy thing. And so then they come to our course, and I'm sure many other courses experience this, and say, well, do you teach mold? Do you teach Lyme? Do you teach this? 100% we know the validity of these things. We're not like, we have practitioners at FDN that their entire practice is dedicated to mold, Lyme, or whatever it might be. However, if we spent an entire course teaching you the foundational stuff of functional medicine, and then all those things on top of it, we would have to charge $100,000 for a course like that. Like, it would be crazy.
You've been in the course forever.
Right. I mean, this would be a 10-year program. So
Right.
what we do, the whole FDN system was created through kind of Reed's own genius and experimentation, right? It's not a secret. He literally says, I had no idea what I was doing in the beginning, but I knew there must be something to this lab test stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to run lab after lab after lab. And he ran over 11,000 labs, and that's how this system came to be. He's not saying it's perfect. He's not saying it's the only system. He's saying, who the hell else has ran 11,000 to try to make one? And really, I don't know of anyone else who ever has. And so we came up with this core set of labs that, for some people, it might get the client 70% better by themselves. For some, it might get them 100% better. For some, it might be like 60. The one thing we can all say with confidence, thankfully, at FDN, I have never once, swear on my life, seen someone do all the labs in the protocol and not get better to some degree. No one's getting worse. No one's getting neutral. They are getting better to some degree.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, everyone has these little, complicated things or something that they're just dealing with personally. Everyone has that. That's where the trendy stuff might come in, right? So what you need to figure out as a practitioner is like, do you want to specialize in the mold stuff? Lucy, it was funny that you said everything that you thought about mold, it will be challenged. The good news is I don't know crap about it. Not because I'm not interested. Yeah, not because I don't care. It's just like, it's never been relevant to me. So I just didn't study it. And if I suspected that in a client, I would refer out to one of our other FDNs who spends half of their week studying it. So you take the FDN course, you take the basis of it, and then you go figure out how you want to specialize, or niche is really the proper way to do it. And you can do that with 10 things if you want. So AFDNP is almost, it's not necessarily, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's not necessarily that you're getting fully trained in these trending or niche things, but you're at least getting a solid framework and a solid introduction almost to see, one, how can you help some clients that might be dealing with it? But two, is it something that you want to pursue further? Is that fair to say, or is there something to elaborate there?
That is an excellent way to put it, because we give you like these little tasters, whether it's like Lyme or mold, heavy metals, like, whatever it is, we give you like a little taster. And then if it piques your interest, that's kind of a sign that you should start like looking into that a little bit more. And it basically, it kind of opens your world up, because inside AFDNP, there's literally 1,000 members, and pretty much everyone specializes within something. So you can reach out to those people to, help you fill the gaps, or just to help you, like, you can have a chat with them and see if it's worth going down that road, especially if you've got a client, you've run all the foundational labs, like you've mentioned, maybe they only got 70% better. What do you do next? You reach out to the community and you say, hey, I've got this client. This is what is going on. They're 70% better. These are the labs we've run. This is what's going on now. What should I do next? And normally you'll get like 5 or 6 comments of people being like, that happened to me and I ran X test. That happened to me. I ran this test. And then you get to choose what you want to look into, what you want to research, and what direction you should go. So it's like the framework, and then AFDNP is like the add-on to help you build and continue to learn. Because let's be honest, you got to keep growing. If you keep staying in the same place, you're going to get stuck.
100%. And this is maybe an analogy I'll get some backfire for because it's not 100% accurate and I don't want to get sued. So I'm not saying this is a perfect comparison. I'm saying that FDN would almost be like, becoming a general practitioner, becoming just a medical school doctor, right? Like you learn a lot about medicine. Now people are gonna be like, well, those guys suck when they try to treat me with holistic health stuff. So that's what I'm saying. It's not a perfect comparison, but you learn medicine, right? You study a bunch of different things. You study a lot of different stuff. But then, of course, you have MDs that go and specialize. They
Yeah.
become a neurologist. They become a whatever. Now, we don't treat anything specifically. That's kind of where the analogy falls apart. But my point is, those neurologists, those GI specialists, the allergists, they all have the same foundational training, but then they learned more about one or two things. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it ends up going in the world of FDN, where you find an FDN that went through the course and then maybe they had a personal story with Lyme disease. And so that's what they want to study. That's their obsession. They want to be able to advocate for and help people that are dealing with chronic Lyme disease. God bless them, man. That's awesome. The
Yeah.
foundations are the same, but they might know some extra tricks of the trade that I might not know. I don't consider myself particularly Lyme literate. I just talked to a gentleman. Well, I can say this. I just won't say his name out of respect. I literally just talked to a gentleman right before this on one of my calls for course enrollment, and he was an athlete, perfect health, actually saw the mold physically in his apartment that he was in. But he's a smart guy. He's like most people. He didn't know any better. He wasn't into this. He's like, oh, I feel fine. So he actually looked it up and he said, oh, if I'm not sneezing or getting any breathing stuff, I'm okay. He said the way he perceived it is in one day, he went from like, I'm a totally fine athlete to debilitating fatigue, heart issues, like brain stuff. Like he was sick as a dog. And so he's getting better and better, but he was asking about like FDN and how does this work? I'm like, this is that foundational stuff. And then you can go be someone who niches in mold, right?
Yeah. And if you decide that actually you don't want to niche into it, you have 15, 20 different practitioners that you can reach out to for your own health, or for, if you want to refer out. Like I do that a lot when I or did that a lot when I was practicing. I have never run personally an HTMA. So I would always, if I got to that point with a client, I'd pass them on to the HTMA experts that are in the group because
Yeah,
they
100%.
crush it. So yeah, it's adding on to that framework. I think I'm repeating myself now, but it's a great place for support and growth.
Yeah, it's all good. And that's kind of not only the power of FDN, but man, this is going to be cool with the directory because if you're a new FDN and you don't know who's who with what thing,
Yeah.
you would be able to go there. So I do this with Lyme all the time because I live in Pennsylvania. We have such a big issue here in the surrounding areas with Lyme disease. It's terrible.
I didn't know that. That's
It's
wild.
it's awful. It is so common that you hear people getting diagnosed with this or getting the Bell's palsy, and then they go to the doctor. Now, of course, they're going through Western medicine,
Right.
which, quite frankly, with Lyme, if you caught it early, that's probably not the stupidest thing to do, my friends.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
serious thing. And so my point is, though, it's so complicated that I end up referring people out to this woman named, you might have heard of her, her name's Rika Keck. And Rika is she's very Lyme literate, been studying it for like over 15 years. And she's this South African woman who, she has one of those accents that just makes her sound smarter than she probably already is. And she's already a genius. So like you listen to her and you're just like, okay, you know something about this. I'm going to go do it. But that's my go-to for her. I've sent her several clients because I'm like, you know what,
Right.
this is what's going on here. Why would I not want to serve you at the highest level? And I know that she's going to send me people who are, people that I can serve at the highest level. Actually, I'm waiting on those referrals. I haven't gotten any yet, so I should actually call her up. With that all said, Lucy, this is again half conversation, half updates on AFDNP. I
Yeah.
know you were on just a month ago. Is there anything else that we needed to cover today, or are you done listening to my random BS?
Well, hopefully next time. I don't know if it'll be possible, but I might be able to share some like screenshots of our new interface,
Okay.
which will be really exciting. We can do like first look.
I'd love to do that.
Anyway.
I'd absolutely love to do that. And hey, guys, if you were watching today, thanks so much for tuning on. When we do these updates with Lucy, I was saying this in the beginning, but you might not have caught that part. These are very conversational. It's not like there's any huge changes, usually month by month in AFDNP, but we want you guys to get involved. We always want you asking questions. So please feel free to drop questions here, even if you're watching the not live version of this, if it's already passed. We will get back to you guys. But yeah, AFDNP, awesome part of what we do. We're here for you. This is a community. If you're joining FDN, you're stuck with us. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You are kind of stuck with us. So we're very careful about who we're bringing into the course. Just to make sure that it serves you at the highest level. So if you're ever interested in what we're doing here, just go to fdntraining.com/call. You can talk to myself or one of the other staff members that help with the course enrollment, and we can help you figure out if it's a good fit and you would do well with our community long term. So Lucy, you have a wonderful rest of your week. I'm looking forward to talking to you soon. And I know we might have some other secret updates, maybe with some clinical advising stuff. So another thing to hint for next time, right?
Absolutely. I'm
Awesome.
sure it will.